What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Recoil. Once again, Alan Wilder's Recoil has provided maybe the most insane and unpredictable and just shocking of the deep dives that have been going on. Big shout out to Alan Wilder, big shout out to Nina and the other people who mentioned not only that Recoil would be great to go through, but they made the point when I first started this that no one else on YouTube had been reacting to Alan Wilder's material, which seems crazy to me. Like, you know, given that he was famously in Depeche Mode for, what was it, like over a decade, it's odd to me that people who like Depeche Mode wouldn't have gone down this alley. And again, I know some of you absolutely have, but it's not a term or an artist name that I'd even heard before people brought it up. And it was like, wait, so he had this whole thing? And like, wait, this became his main music outlet after he left Depeche Mode? I never knew this. So, yeah, the whole thing has been just this remarkable and, again, frankly shocking experience in a good way. But again, a couple of the tracks, it's like I'm like holding on to my seat because I don't know what the hell's going to happen, and you know, if someone's going to get hurt or what crazy thing a sort of spoken word vocal is going to say. And indeed, we're up to the next tune, which is called The Killing Ground Excerpt. So Excerpt makes me think that perhaps, you know, the album that this originally came from, perhaps there was a more extended version, perhaps this, you know, went longer. I did notice when I queued it up, it's still like 5.5 minutes. So if this is an excerpt, then the original rendering of the tune must have been quite lengthy. But The Killing Ground, you know, I think there are a few historical circumstances which, in retrospect, at least in some circles, have come to be called The Killing Ground. I am also aware there was a documentary, I want to say like early 80s, maybe late 70s, and what's the guy's name? It's not his real name. I think it's like Britt Hume, but I think he made a documentary that was about like toxic waste dumping at like, I think it was Niagara Falls and maybe some other places, but it was like a documentary about the way in which toxic chemicals were being sort of callously dumped into situations which were causing environmental damage and harm. So I wonder if, you know, I don't know exactly what year this was made, but if this was his side project while he was in Depeche Mode, then at the very least we're talking like mid to late 80s, and you know, if it came during the period after he left Depeche Mode when Recoil became his main outlet, then we'd be talking late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly when this came out, but I guess if I were to have to posit a suggestion as to what the specific reference of Killing Ground may be, I guess that's what it would be: environmental damage, perhaps as shown in the documentary of that name. But again, there are, like, unfortunately, like, you know, genocidal massacres in history upon which the geographical space in which that took place is now considered this sort of like almost sacred, but in a very sort of somber and depressing way, but like a killing ground, this like geographical space that bears the weight and the mourning and the memory of the people who were slaughtered. So I have no idea where we're going with this, but I'll lean more toward the pollution one, just because I am aware of a documentary of that exact name. So let's find out. This is Recoil. The tune is The Killing Ground Excerpt, and it's heard here on the compilation from 2010, Selected.
Just another link in his chain.
Is it the Jezebel vocal?
Just another link in his chain.
Just reminds me of it, I guess. Oh.
Look out, Jim. All God's chilling now. You're just a link in his chain. Just a link in your chain.
Some organ. Some funk. Hey.
Well, the people love one on the right. was done. Oh, I'm on ahead on to one side.
It does feel like
From the killing ground.
a rhythm and blues vocal, so I guess that's what it's from.
From the killing ground.
Yeah, it's from a song, I guess.
Yeah, you got the hit from the killing ground. Lord, I'm on ahead, up down. A long way, I went come down. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, say now, yeah, come on. Now to get accused of breaking the law.
Okay.
Up on the side of gold, thought.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's one man accused of being a king.
It's an electric
That's
riff.
the saddest song I'll ever sing.
Some bluesy guitar? Come on.
Killing ground. I said you got to hit from the killing ground. I said you got to hit from the killing ground. When the law gets ready, the whip comes down.
This is like amazing score, like soundtrack music. But it's like, it's got vocals and it's got electricity. It's like, it's not like any other music that exists. Like score from a 1940s film.
You can drift and drift and drift somewhere. Drift away.
Can't find no heaven. Here I am, stunned during another recoil reaction. Feels like the tune is like slowly evaporating. I mean, what do you even say? Again, it sounds like the killing ground phrase actually came from a song that was being sampled. It did have a similar vibe as the sort of Jezebel kind of early rhythm and blues, maybe like formative rock and roll sort of era. But I don't know. It could be a vocal that was recorded like for the track. But again, the syncopation, the shifting in the sections, the sort of subtle sonic touches, but also sort of the overall atmosphere of the tune, just incredible. It's like I said, I'm beginning to have a sense more of what he likes to do, what types of sonics, what types of beats, a lot of syncopated beats, kind of heavier, dark sonics, spoken vocals, but done in a way where they're like given rhythmically. But even then, I still have no idea where a given Recoil tune is going while I'm in the experience of listening to it for the first time. So, another really cool tune. Got to listen to it some more. Do let me know what you think of this one. Getting near the end of the regular part of the album. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3 more: Shunt, Edge to Life, and Last Breath. And then there's a whole remix CD with different versions of the tracks that we've already listened to. So, be keen to hear that. Although, as I say that, it does look like there's some on the second CD that aren't on the first CD, like 5,000 Years, a Romanian elegy for strings. I don't see that anywhere on the original release. Whereas there's different versions of Pray, Drifting, Jezebel, Alleluia, and so on, including a different version of The Killing Ground called the Solid State Mix. Interested to hear that. But yeah, so we'll go through the whole remixed album once we're done with this one, and still 3 more tracks before we finish the first disc. But do let me know what you think of this insane track. Big shout out to Alan Wilder, just an incredible artist, far beyond what I ever knew, even though I knew he was a part of Depeche Mode going back to my, single-digit youth days. Nevertheless, big ups to him, big ups to the Recoil people. I really do appreciate you, and for supporting this reaction series, even though it is perhaps a bit more obscure, compared to a lot of the other synth pop groups that I'm going through. So, and indeed, I'm not even sure you would call his music synth pop. It is synth, but there's all sorts of other things going on. So, let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.